Hi, I'm Judy Tavel. You may know me as Judy Fibkins. I was a physics major, so I suspect not a whole lot of you know me. Physics has been my life, but in addition to that, I have always enjoyed fiber arts, and in particular, quilting. The subject of our reunion came up during the Zoom-a-lots, and the concept of possibly making a quilt for our class. Now that really resonated with me because I have always been so happy that I was part of the class of '69. So I thought, well, I would raise my hand, and I do belong to the Contemporary Art Quilt Association here in Seattle, and I do love doing quilts. I had never made a t-shirt quilt, but you all were requested to send in your t-shirts in the March newsletter last year, and with a June 1st deadline. So by June 1st, I had 23 entries, including a canvas bag and some masks. I have enjoyed every minute of it. But it took 9 months, kind of like having my child. And I'm happy to present you with it now. The beginning of all this really was Leslie Friedman's contribution of Matthew. So we have Matthew's portrait, and as I was trying to figure out what I was doing by laying each of the individual pieces out, before I really cut them up, I realized that Matthew would be well served to have a frame. At any rate, by framing Matthew, after months of trying to put all these pieces together, I realized that framing everything else could be a way of combining them in a way that wasn't just hodgepodge. The frames are made from the backs of the t-shirts you all sent me. So everything was used. Leah sent this one, and I thought it stood out so much better than when it was alone, as did some of these others, like the Cooperative Bookshop, and framing Barbara's contribution, if I can get this, of Lathrop was very important. And ultimately, what it then told me was by framing all of the Vassars, obviously most of the t-shirts were just Vassar, I had a way of blending them in with the rest of the quilt. So that's basically how it evolved. In addition to Matthew, I thought I should make sure that everybody knew that this was part of the reunion. So since Fran Dickman had given me t-shirts with the owls on it, I thought that was a great way of then making letters out of t-shirt back and making the letters for our 55th, which then contributed very nicely to the full picture of Main Hall with the sunrise and, of course, Gott Vassar, which was from Cage. Also, any of you who quilt know that usually you quilt by stitching over things. I did not like anything that I had attempted to do. In fact, you'll see some places where I've actually taken out stitches. I apologize. And so I did tie the quilt, but I also took all of the ends of the ties and put them inside so that you only have little dots like push pins. So I hope it looks like push pins. One thing you all should know is it's a rather heavy quilt because I did put batting in between, as is usually the case for a quilt. But I was told that maybe I shouldn't do it this time because it would be too heavy. When I didn't put it in, Matthew Vassar with the stitching from the back looked like he was behind bars. And of course he made his money from bars, not behind them. So I had to make sure that no one saw bars. One thing I'd like to point out is this cute little bunny who graced the nightshirt of Sherry Banks, who lives in Wales. And she was the only one to send something in blue. And I couldn't have it be all by its lonesome. So Vassar is now selling onesies with blue where they're stars. So I got that to complement Sherry's contribution. The other thing you should all know about is the masks that are here. I put them in to remind us of COVID, but in particular to say a shout out to both Nancy and Barbara for having Zoom-a-lots, which have been so important for me personally and obviously for many members of our class who regularly sign in. And I applaud them for doing it. Robin Woodard gave me a tote bag, and it was the tote bag that had images, obviously, of the library, Main, and Main Gate. And I realized that these could actually be cut out and then stitched on the T-shirt material that you all had sent. And last but not least, the pièce de résistance, which was a Vassar sweatshirt. And I regret I don't know who sent it. I cannot find that note to myself. So at any rate, all of this has been put together with the pieces from the back. So all the plain material that you see is stabilized T-shirt material. And I chose not to throw out all of the material. And I then simply made squares and rectangles and took all of the bits and pieces I had and constructed the back. So no landfill is being filled with your T-shirts. And the extra owls have graced this. And as you can see, I was going to make a very big 69, and it didn't look right in the front, but it is perfect, I think, in the middle. Of course, you have to sign it. So I did sign the quilt on the day I actually finished it. I began on the 2nd of June, and I finished it on the 2nd of March. And I've enjoyed doing it, and I've thought about all you when I've been doing this. My years at Vassar, which were awesome, and I give my love to my class. This quilt is not only to honor our class, but it is also to be auctioned off at our reunion. There will be a silent auction. People who can't actually attend the reunion will also be able to bid on this, and you'll hear more about it from Nancy and Barbara later on. I really hope that you've enjoyed seeing this quilt. I hope you all have enjoyed it enough that you might be seriously willing to bid significantly for this, simply because it will go for scholarships. And I know how important giving has been for our class. In fact, we have been truly awesome. And I thank you for your time.